Hello everyone. I'm in a lot of pain right now. Got Houston, got Hurricane Beryl barreling through the Texas coast right now. And the eye is just south of Houston. I don't know if it's still too bright or what, but yeah, it's just to the southwest and heading north. The eye is, and really, by the looks of the map, it's heading straight for us right here. And if it wasn't for that, me and my wife would be heading to Mississippi right now, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to visit my mom. She's not doing good. My mom is in her mid-80s. She's been suffering from Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, which she's had for decades, and I only just recently found out about it. And we're not expecting her to make it for much longer, so me and my wife are going to go visit with her. And one of my sisters and her husband has been living with her for the past 10 years, since my dad passed away. And my oldest sister is visiting with them now. And if it wasn't for Hurricane Beryl, we'd be on our way right now to go see her. But as it is, with the weather and because of the pain that I'm in right now, because all my scars are acting up, the surface scars, the scar bands that I've had, because of the burns I've suffered from since 1995. All that's acting up right now. So I'm not doing anything today. Not doing anything else except sitting right here vegging out on YouTube. And so we're going to be heading hopefully to Mississippi tomorrow morning. But if still there's still too much weather in this area, then it'll probably be Wednesday. So to see her. So I'll get back onto YouTube as soon as I can. So see you around. That video was made over a week ago now, while Hurricane Beryl was coming through and ripping everything apart. And right after I finished recording it is when we lost power here, and wasn't able to do anything that I wanted to do. We were going to go, if it hadn't been for Hurricane Beryl, we would have gone over to Mississippi to see my mom, but as it was, we couldn't. So we ended up staying with at my brother-in-law's house, my wife's brother. They still had power north of here, north of where we are, and we stayed with them the whole week, because we lost power from Monday morning to that following Wednesday morning, because I have to have an air-conditioned environment because of my injuries. And but during that week that we didn't have power on Wednesday, was when I received news that my mom had passed away and that her services were going to be held on Saturday. So, power or no power, we had to leave no later than Friday morning. So that's what we did. Left for my brother-in-law's house. And since our apartment is right on the way from our brother's house to go to Mississippi, we stopped by the apartment to check on things and see how everything was. And we still didn't have any power, so we had to go ahead and go on to Mississippi. And when we were around Beaumont is when a friend of my wife who lives in our apartment complex called her on the phone and said, the power's back on here. But Saturday they let me see Mom. I was the only one who hadn't gotten to see Mom yet. And this is the last time to be able to see her before she was cremated. And everybody from the family was there. And while I was standing there looking at her, I was at peace. I could see her peace, and I was at peace. And the thing that kept coming to mind was that she's back with Dad now. Because Dad had passed away 10 years, 8 months ago. Just over 10 and a half years ago. And the image in particular that kept coming to me was that they're not just back together again, but they're dancing together again. And one of my all-time fondest memories from my childhood was back on Christmas Eve of 1976. I was 12 years old, and it was around midnight. I was just happened to be awake. The door to my bedroom was open, and I could see through it, and I could see all the way into the living room. And all the lights were off, except the Christmas tree lights. Those were the only lights on. Music was playing softly, and I could see Mom and Dad dancing together. So that's the image that I'm reminded of now, that they're back together again after over 10 and a half years since Dad passed away, and they're back together and they're dancing together. And we only just got back home today on the 16th. And now we have more pressing issues to deal with. Over the past several years, because I'm not receiving disability, my mom has been having to pay for our rent out of her retirement money. And I've been spending this time looking for any organizations that could help us in the long term to pay for our rent. My wife, she's on SSI. I've been trying to get disability, and for some reason I just don't seem to qualify for it. But I have a new lawyer who started the ball rolling again for a new disability claim. Just started on April
But I know how long disability claims take. How long it'll be before we go back before any judge on that. And I don't know if we're going to make it, because our situation right now is pretty bad. Right now, just doing YouTube, it's a hobby. It's a hobby that's a lot of fun. Keeps me busy from turning into a couch potato. But it's just a hobby until I would start getting paid for it. I'd have to have enough subscribers, and I would have to have enough views per video before I could even start monetizing any of my videos. And I don't think that's going to happen soon enough. I've written those few books available through Amazon.com. If I could sell 1 million copies of each of those, we wouldn't be in this situation, but that's not going to happen. And the way things are right now, if things don't change, if I'm not able to find any help after next month, after August, if I'm not putting out any more videos after August, it'll be because I'm either going through another real rough bout of depression like I've gone before, or we're homeless, because that's where we're at right now. And my birthday is next week, Thursday, the 25th. I'm turning 60 years old. And right now this is our reality. Speaking of reality, I'll put a link in the description to another video that I made a long time ago now called Reality. And it's where it's to show you where my mind goes when I'm in those dark places, when I'm overcome with depression, because I suffer from acute depression, acute anxiety. I've suffered from it all my life, and I always will. And that's because of the PTSD that I've developed since I was 3 years old and wasn't diagnosed with it until 2017. And I've suffered from it all this time. And now I've learned how to live with it, with my medications, and I can't even get Medicaid anymore either, because I no longer qualify for it. In order to get Medicaid for disability, you have to be receiving disability, and I'm not receiving disability. Don't know when that's ever going to be, if ever. Like I said, for some reason I just don't qualify for it. But that's where we're at. That's my reality. And so hopefully I'll be seeing you again after August. If not, you'll know why. So see you then.